Hi, thanks so much for joining me. I'm Danny from the Glittered Rose. I've made this art journal spread as an example. I want to show that you don't need to spend hours upon hours doing layers and fancy techniques to come up with something that's really effective and pretty for your art journal. So I would consider this spread to be quite simple. There's not many techniques. It's just lots of paint and some layers, but it was super easy to do and it was rather quick. So if you want to check out how I did it, stick around. Be sure to hit the like button. Let me know down below what you think and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Okay, let's get into it. I recently picked up this a copy of this book. It's just called Doors by Friedman and Fairfax. It's just a book full of colourful doors, and I thought I'd grab it just for some collage work. So I've chosen this sweet little wooden door. It's even got a little love heart at the top. So I thought this would be perfect. It's small enough to fit in my small Stamperia art journal. And so I'm just going to cut it down to size with my decal edge ruler. I'm not sure what size I want yet, but don't mind the messy spread. I was going in a different direction and the stamps didn't work. So I've gessoed over it. I don't mind that some of the black is showing through. If I can see it afterwards, it'll just add a little bit of texture. This is the first time I get to use my new decal edge rulers. These are just from Amazon. Super cheap. I might pop a link in my description box for you guys to grab yourself one if you want one. I think they were like $12 for three or something. They could be a little longer, but I think they'll work for most sizes that I need. And I'm just lining it up um, with my glass mat lines just to try and make sure that I get it square and straight. That's looking pretty good. I wanted to keep some of those flowers in the bottom because I think that's really cute. Just trim a little bit off the side here. I've I've had to cut my nails really short because I was getting the gel done at the nail salon and they have just completely ruined my nails by filing them too thin. So I am really missing having my nails. So if I feel look a little awkward trying to grab things, it's because I don't have my nails. Okay, so I'm just pulling across some painting supplies, and I think Nougat from Stamperia, it's an Allegro paint. I think that will work really, really well with the colours in the fairy and the door. And I'm just going to paint this on really rough. I don't want it smooth. I want that painty sort of texture. It'll match with the door and the door frame. So just painting that on. For cheap paint, I really do like the Stamperia Allegro. I think it's nice. It's a nice texture. It's not too runny and it's quite solid. I think it's nice stuff. On second thoughts, I'm wondering if I want to do this a double spread. I had it in my mind it was just going to be a one pager, but I'm thinking maybe I might spread that out. Yep, I'm going to spread it out. Okay, I'm going to paint this other page as well. just rough. I've grabbed out some patina texture paint also from Stamperia because I think this pale, I think it's called pale pastel green, I think will be a fantastic color for this. So I'm just going to paint that on rough as well. I want the brush strokes. I didn't dry it before painting this, so it will blend a little bit together. But it's looking pretty good. These patina texture sets, you get 5 small or 4 small. Hang on, let me have a look. I think you have 5 colors of paint. And oh, the rusty one came with a texture. But these are just 5 paints and they cost $30. It's a bargain. They're only small, but when you're painting small things like art journal spreads, it doesn't really matter. Oops. Excuse the noise. Okay, I'll dry this off. Gosh, I hope you can't hear all the wind. It's so windy here. Okay, so I've grabbed out one of Ideology Tim Holtz's strips, ephemera strips, and these are fantastic. They're in colorways. So if there's one that matches what you're working on, it's great. They can all go together, which I think is such a help when you're making a spread that's going to be quick and easy like this one. Just means that you don't have to search through all your ephemera to get things to match. Just going to build a bit of a cluster here. It's not going to be anything too fancy or complicated. Just pop them together so that they match. Or so that they glue together and they look good. Just working out how I want this stack to be. I'm just going to grab out my glue and stick it all down. My little fairy is from my own collage sheet. I'll pop a direct link in the description box. You can just grab it on Etsy. This size is the smallest size that I offer as a pre-made collage sheet, but you get them in 3 different sizes and a file for you to print them at whatever size that you want. I'll probably glue her down later when I know exactly where I want her. Okay, so I've grabbed out antique paper distress ink and I am just aging those edges. So it's not something that I have to go too crazy about. I don't want it all really grungy and dirty, just a little bit. I'm gonna decal edge that. It just looks too straight. And then I'm going to pop on a bit of ink on the edges. And again, having trouble, no nails. Okay, I'm going to age the edges and then we might do some stamping. I've grabbed out a stamp set from All and Create, and it's called House of Butterflies, and some archival ink, and just going to stamp it. I don't want it really black, I want it nice and light, and these stamps are a little bit aged, so they'll give that non-perfect look anyway. My watch face at the moment's a butterfly. How perfect. So there's lots of great stamps on this in this set, and they all sort of match, so this just adds a little bit of texture and light and shade to the background. It's not to look perfect, it's just for that added bit of extra interest. Gonna have to play with that stamp a little bit more, it might be faulty. It's not really picking up the ink in the middle of it. Alright, this one's got a house with the butterfly wings, so I think that's perfect. Not that I think you'll be able to see too much of the stamping later. This has just got to be random, just wherever, just to fill some of that space and add a little bit of interest. The nice thing about archival ink is that it is waterproof and it dries pretty quickly. Okay. For the last one, I am going to stamp in black because it says home, so I want that to stand out more. So it's, again, it's another aged stamp, but I think it'll look really nice. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to stamp the home a couple more times, and then I'm going to sew on my um, cluster, and I'll be back. I'm not sure if my camera will pick this up, but I sewed some little leaves on that and it looks really cute. I'm going to leave the thread long because I think some thread coming out of a closed book will look really cool. And I'm pretty happy with that. I've grabbed out some Liquitex in sepia. This is just ink, and I'm just watering it down just for a little bit of staining on the page, just to add that extra layer and interest. I'll grab my water bottle and spray it down to get some runs. And I need to fill up my water bottle. Just grab some paper towel and mop that up. This just adds a little bit of light staining just to add a little bit of interest. It's not a lot and it's not a lot in your face, but it just adds something. Okay, I'm going to dry this off. I've just grabbed out my Stabilo all in green and I'm just going to do loose sort of scribbles and then I'll wet it down. Not that I think you'll be able to see too much of it by the time we're finished, but it just adds another layer for what you can see. It's starting to feel really nice. The page is getting a lot of texture and I just love touching these art journal pages. They're nice to look at, but they're also nice to feel. I don't think I'm going to put any texture paste on this page. We'll keep it nice and simple. Just auditioning, making sure I know in my mind where things are going to go. It's looking pretty good so far. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I'm just going to glue down these images using some collage medium. You just don't be stingy with this stuff. Put lots on so it sticks. But the good thing about the collage medium from Distress is that it does grab on really quickly. So you just paint it on. I've decided I want to pop some colour on her as well. I've got a little bit of ink on her wing. I'm not sure how that happened, but I don't mind it. Play on. Just glue that down. Oh, looking pretty good. Just make sure that it's all stuck down. So I've grabbed out some 49 and Market rub-ons, and I think this colour sheet is perfect with my spread. So I'm going to use the rectangles and rub them on. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to put them yet. I know I want to have them overlapping a focal image. Ah, that's the right spot. So we'll pop that there. And this just helps the page look more cohesive. It looks a little bit less like things have been glued willy-nilly. It looks more cohesive. So these, I find these rub-ons to be fantastic. They work perfectly well. Just left a couple of spots, so you just go over it till it's all transferred onto the paper. Perfect. It's really cool. You can't really even feel that they're there. And they're not shiny. They're dull, which I love. Okay. I'll just give this a little dry off. It's a little wet still. I'm really loving the colours. I think that they're really pretty. I'm not sure if my camera is picking up the correct colour of my little fairy's dress, but it's a very light green and her wings are a light yellow colour. It all sort of matches and looks nice. All right, what does it need now? See this butterfly? I think that colour is perfect for like the brickwork around the door. So I want to introduce that colour into the other side of the page. So I'm going to pop this butterfly over because it's a very similar colour. Now I think because these transfers are so thin, I can put it in the crease and it won't matter. Gee, the stamping is just sort of fading into the background now. It looks really good, apart from the home, which is what I wanted. Color choices are good. Okay, so I've grabbed out a little bit more of the paint and I'm just going to do a little bit of blending. I don't think it needs a lot, but just a little bit around those edges. And there's still ink in this brush. clean your brushes well, Danny, otherwise you get you get brown. You get what you get and you don't get upset, or as Tim Holt says, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. My kids say the first one. So I'm just lightly sweeping some of that green across the edges just to try and blend it, and then blending it out further where there isn't any green. I don't think it needs a lot. Sometimes, especially when there's different sorts of paper, it can look like you really need to blend it. But yeah, just a little bit for this one, especially where my fussy cutting hasn't been too great. Kind of wish I could have a die for everything, but then dies can be pains in the butts too. Got to be positioned just right. All right, so this blending's looking pretty good. I want to frame this now, and I have a tendency to use chalk. I think frames things really nicely because you can have a sharper line around the edge and soften it towards the middle. So I'm just using chalk, like a dark green chalk, and just running around the edges and then smoothing it out with my fingers. I know a lot of people ink blend, but I just really like using the chalk. It's so soft and creamy and nice and easy. And this is what this spread is all about. It's a Rembrandt chalk. It's really good if you make some whoopsies, you can just nearly erase it. Feeling pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with it, but I think it needs a little bit of white space. And true to me, I haven't left any. So this is a good trick to pop some white space in if you're like me and don't leave any. You just go over it with some gesso. And you probably, if you're going to finger paint, make sure you've got clean fingers, not covered in chalk. So with a paintbrush, I'm just adding some white space now. The good thing with gesso is it's not completely opaque. So any texture and marks underneath it you can see through the gesso. So it adds some freshness and brightens up the page, but doesn't take away from any of your beautiful texture. So I'm just going to randomly paint it on. It's also great because you can layer it in spots, so your white space doesn't have to look completely even. It can be wider in some spots and more translucent in others. I think using stamps like I did is a fantastic way to add texture easily. You don't always have to layer it with book pages and different things. Just doing some simple stamping can really add some interest and texture. So I'm just painting where I think it could need it. I'm also overlapping some gesso onto my collage images, just to, again, to make it look more cohesive. I love these little books from Stamperia. I can't wait till this book is finished. I'm probably going to get myself a little traveler's notebook and store them in it. The trouble is I love making cards and tags and things, so filling up art journals takes a little while, but it'll be so worth it when it's done. Going over this book page with the collage medium has really mattified it up. So it was super glossy like photo paper, the page of my book, and painting over it with the collage medium has made it nice and dull. I'm not a big fan of glossy pages in my art journal, so having something a little that you can paint on to make it a bit matter is fantastic. It's also matted up my little fairy who I printed on satin photo paper, so it wasn't terribly glossy, but it did have a little sheen to it. And I'm really happy with that. I think adding that gesso to the page has freshened it up. I'm going to clean up my spot and I think I might call this done and I'll be back. And here we are, all finished. I have to say I'm pretty happy with the end result. I think that it just proves that you don't need to do lots of different fancy techniques. You don't need a heap of supplies really, and you can get something really lovely as the result. There's lots of texture. My little fairy is gorgeous. Let me know down below what you think. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thanks so much for watching till the end. Till next time, guys. Bye for now.